Buddy, it's 2 minutes after 2, so I would like to call to order this meeting of the District 68 Sports Field and Recreation Committee for Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026, and respectfully acknowledge that we are holding this meeting on the traditional territory of the Coast Salish peoples. Introduction of late items. Ms. Robertson?
There are none, Mr. Chair.
None, thank you. Adoption of the agenda. Can we have a motion? Councillor Hemmons and I have to get straight, Councillor and Director. So it's Director Craig. All in favor? None opposed? Thank you. And adoption of the minutes from the meeting which we had back on June 27th of 2025. Director Melanson, Councillor Hemmons, all in favor? Any opposed? Carried. And I will acknowledge that we have Director or Mayor Swain joining us via Zoom. Thank you very much. So we'll move into presentations, everybody, and we start with capital project update from the City of Nanaimo to be introduced by Ms. Charlotte Davis. Ms. Davis.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Councillor Thorpe. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Charlotte Davis, and I am the Acting Director of Parks, Recreation and Culture. So we have for you here today a presentation that will provide some highlights of what we have achieved or will be achieving this year, and then also a look forward to some of the highlights from our draft capital plan from the next 5 years as they pertain to the agreement. So jumping in first with Sportsfield and their associated amenities. This year we have installed the Cunnistuck Stadium bleacher and media booth, which provides 1,300 seats and the media booth for those attending the Stadium District events. It's a big place-making amenity and really assists us in hosting major sports tournaments. The new bleachers are in use and the media booth as well is also operational. There is a tour planned and an opening event planned with Council for later this month. The Stadium District parking lot was also completed towards the very beginning of this year, and that provides increased spots. It's now no longer a gravel parking lot, fully raised crosswalks, and it is lit as well. So it's a major improvement again to our Stadium District. The Rotary Bowl Phase 3 improvements are currently underway in the Stadium District. This is primarily the relocation of the high jump and the pole vault, and also the replacement of turf and the irrigation system. We are also adding a 100-metre sprint chute to the track also. All these improvements have been undertaken in conjunction with the Nanaimo Track and Field Club and have taken on board a lot of their feedback in the development of this project. We're due to be complete in October of this year. The Stadium District wash cars are also due to be completed this year. The unit in the image there is what we have been renting for the past few years, and we are now due to own our own unit that will be placed in that same position later this year. There are many more fixtures here. It's fully accessible and a major improvement again to the Stadium District. Due to be completed this winter. So here's a miscellaneous list of other things that we're working on this year. Over at the McGurr Sports Fields, we will be installing some netting. This is netting for the outfield along the east of the field. The west of the field will still need to be done. There is a backstop replacement program, which we do across several fields every year to replace aging backstops, and similarly a soccer goal replacement program. Over at Caledonia Park, we'll be installing some CCTV, and similarly at the Stadium District also, and that focused mostly this year on the Sir Oxman Stadium facility. It was recently approved by Council a new project for field lighting at Beban Gyro Field, and that one is delivered in partnership with Nanaimo United FC in a cost-sharing agreement where Council was providing $47,000 of funding and the Nanaimo United FC were supporting by providing $100,000 worth of funding, and that is really in their benefit to do so, as they will be able to make Beban Gyro the home of their soccer program for their youth and non-profit grassroots soccer program. And then finally, a storage facility at Harewood Artificial Turf Field is planned as well to help us continue to do our grooming and maintenance services required there. So we're looking forward to what we're achieving this year in recreation facilities. There are a number of asset management priorities taking place at Bevan Pool. This is a lot of HVAC and also roof improvements and mechanical systems, and similarly at Frank Crane Arena and Cliff McNabb. And the social centre, and the biggest one, of course, is the roof, which is a multi-year project for a total of $11.7 million. And that will really help us ensure that the complex is as usable for the next 50 years. We celebrated the 50th of Bevan Park earlier this February. There was some major projects planned, also new things at Bevan Park. It's not all just asset management. So earlier this year, we opened the Bevan Park Outdoor Learning Classroom, which is at the end of the facility, kind of near the playground. This is a bookable and programmable space that is fully accessible and a great place to bring your children, play, and if they're taking part in a program at Bevan, it allows them now to not have to be inside all day. They can go outside and enjoy some fresh air in the wonderful classroom to facilitate learning and accessible play. And then additionally, there is a project that we are working and developing with Seven Potatoes, which is the local Japanese-Canadian society, and that is an outdoor performance space. And this will be commemorative of the Japanese Canadians that lived here prior to World War II, and tell that story in concert with another project we have planned in the downtown. And this one really focuses on providing a performance space that will be bookable and useful for all. And this one will be completed before the end of this year. And we've received grant funding for this from the Japanese Canadian Legacy Society also. Over at NAC, there's a lot going on and a lot of community interest in this as well. So we're spending $12 million on the HVAC, but the thing that's really getting everybody excited is the new play structure and the lobby renovations. So the new play feature will replace what was the boat, and will feature a big tippy bucket, different spray elements, and be fully accessible. And then a small slide also. And then the lobby renovations will just make the lobby that more inviting and a safe space for all. And then importantly, we are improving CCTV at NAC as well this year. That project is due to be complete in early October. And in the meantime, you can swim at Bevan and Westwood Lake. The Nanaimo Eye Centre is also undergoing some asset management projects this year to the tune of $1.1 million. And similarly at Bowen Park, I can hear my boss, my former boss, Richard Harding, when I look at this picture, because we managed to pick the one picture that shows it with no one in. But I can assure you this facility is very, very popular and gets used an awful lot. So yeah, we're improving the sound system there. So all the people that like to go there and dance and work out, mainly seniors, but it's open to everyone. And okay, so looking forward to the draft plan. So what we've got coming up in the next 5 years in our draft capital plan, which is due to be signed off by council this fall, winter. We have a stadium district amenity project, and that is in the stadium district to renovate and add new in the area of the grandstands at Rotary Bowl to facilitate more tournaments. So if you can imagine, the new addition is going to be built in between the grandstands, and it is a change room amenity building for large teams. It will be able to accommodate 2 teams of football players. So that's a lot of people. And then the renovation involves the underneath of the grandstands, which are already used, and that will be for washrooms. So it's an interesting project there, and there's also a storage element with it as well. And that is on the timeline due to be delivered by spring of 28. Some other proposed projects in our draft capital plan. The first one is the replacement of the carpet at Mill Logan. It served us very well, and it's now at its 10-year replacement timeline, so that is on for next year, 2027. We have recently submitted a grant application to the Mini Peaks Legacy project, and that is for a sports field training pitch, known as a mini pitch, that would go alongside Mill Logan and second artificial turf field here at Bevan Park. The city is required to budget the site preparations work, which we have done, and then we're due to find out later this year if we have been successful in our grant application, which would pay for the balance of the work. Over at Sir Oxman Stadium, bullpens are planned for 2028. So that is that will replace the pitching mounds that are presently on the left and right field lines and go between where the stadium is right now and the parking lot. Everyone is quite excited about that one. And yes, the Night Owls are the major user there, but we have many other grassroots baseball teams that will use that facility. There is a major renovation in the draft capital plan for Sid Clark Gyro Sports Field. And we do also speak with the grassroots baseball teams about this, and we will continue to have ongoing conversation with them about prioritization of baseball projects. And then over at the Kew Stadium, Cynnestook Stadium in the Stadium District, the turf carpet will be 12 years old by 2030, and so we're looking to replace it on that birthday in partnership with the school district. Here are our proposed projects over the next 5 years in our recreation facilities. There are a number of ongoing improvements planned for NAC, water slides and bleachers, scoreboards, fire alarms and other asset management items to the tune of 2.4 million. At Bevan Pool, new diving boards and sauna upgrades. At the Bevan Complex, a completion of a multi-year roof project and also flooring and lighting upgrades with some HVAC between 27 and 2029. And at Bowen Park Complex, some HVAC over the next 5 years to the tune of 1 million. And then a project that is not currently part of the agreement, but we felt worthy of updating this group on, is the Loudon Park Improvement Project. We actually have a community open house event planned in the park tomorrow between 10 and noon for those that wish to come and find out more about the project. This improvement project builds upon Council's purchase of 2 additional properties that have since been amalgamated into the park to add another ½ acre to this relatively small but mighty park. This is a master planned project and will provide a community space that will be bookable for all, a training space for the users of the rowing and canoe kayak club, and also storage of those boat amenities underneath the facility. And then as well, further amenities and improvements in the park, which will include beach enhancements and beach widening, a new playground, new trails, picnicking elements, and just accessibility improvements across the board. There will also be improved parking and a new park entrance. And the total budget of that is 11.46 million. And we're due to be complete on that one in spring, summer of 2028. And that is the end of my presentation. That was a bit of a fly through, but there's a lot there.
No, we appreciate that very much. And as I indicated to several members of the committee, I do have a commitment this afternoon, so brevity is appreciated. But every time I see this type of presentation, Ms. Davis, I am just absolutely in awe of the facilities that we have in our area and in our region. And if I may, through this committee, please extend thanks to all the staff that help maintain and improve those facilities. Directors, committee members, any questions or comments? Director Hemmons.
Thank you, Chair, and nice words, which I couldn't agree more with. I should know this. I apologize, Ms. Davis. The proposed 2027 to 2031 project, oh no, sorry, I'm in the wrong, oh no, pardon me. There's a section of proposed other field projects. Are these ones, like the mini peaks, I know we're waiting on funding. These are not currently in the budget and will be decided upon by council, or they are in the budget?
Some of them are in the budget in the approved plan, and some of them are coming forward in the draft capital plan. And I would like to, Ms. Fuller, have I missed anything there that I should have perhaps said?
Just something for everyone to consider when we talk about the proposed 2027 to 2031 project plan. Staff is still in the process of prioritizing projects because currently the requests from departments do exceed available funding. So staff will be shifting projects around to bring a balanced plan to council in the fall. So that potentially could change some of the timing on some of those projects.
Thank you, that's great. I just want to make sure for my own sense, for our fall process, we often have slides where we can insert things in the budget, but most of the projects that you're discussing here are already in the budget. They won't be a decision point for council.
We'll will look in
I'm sorry, Charlotte.
through the
I
chair
should
to
have
Councillor
told you.
Hammonds. No, I'll look in depth here. So, as I recall, Mer Logan has already been in there because that's 10 years and we knew we needed to do that. Mini Peaks we'll find out. The bullpens were already in there. Sid Clark Gyro was already in there, but what we did was we went and recosted it. So that element is kind of like a little bit new. And then the Q Stadium turf has been pushed back 2 years.
I see.
So that is the change that you'll be seeing there.
Okay, wonderful, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Director Melanson.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Davis, I'm just wondering. Oh, there we go. It just doesn't like me that much. Hi, Ms. Davis. Just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the scope of the Sid Clark Gyro renovations.
Absolutely, and through the chair, it's quite considerable as it's presently planned. It is basically the whole facility, including the playing surface. Right now, the surface is a soil-based surface and it struggles with drainage, which means teams are having to get on there later than they would really like. So the plan, starting with the surface, is to replace that with a sand-based surface and all new irrigation, all new fencing, all new bleachers, all new seating, and all new backstops.
That's a lot.
That's it?
Yep.
Director Stanley.
Yes, thanks. I actually want to kind of, I guess, round us out with how we started. I, over this term, have been so impressed with the number of projects from City of Nanaimo, and I have 3 teenage boys. So I've tested them all. The seating at Kinishtik was it was great. It was such a great change from having to stand and watch everything in pace, and now I'm required to sit when my 13-year-old is getting pummeled in rugby. So very impressed with the facilities. I am also very impressed with the parking lot, big improvement. Westwood Lake was not mentioned. I think that deserves an additional mention. Really beautiful facilities there. So I just, I think council, I don't know if this was intentional, and maybe this is Councillor Thorpe's influence or not, but that from a kind of an outside perspective, I feel like Nanaimo really shines in this regard. So I just wanted to send my kudos on that because I've seen a lot of these changes come in, and I think they're very impressive. So well done.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yes, Director Craig.
Thank you, and yes, thanks for all of the work. I mean, it's very nice to be able to benefit from this. I mean, I'm just curious, it was listed, are these all capital projects, or are some of them, because I know we've had discussions about where is the line between capital and operational, so I wanted to just ask, my understanding is all of those are capital projects?
Through the chair, yes, these are all capital projects, but of course they will have operational impacts, which is something we also balance out annually.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I may, a couple of points, Ms. Davis. Director Melanson mentioned the Sid Clark field, which I'm very familiar with. And as listeners might know, we've had an unfortunate fire at the Judo Club Center there. My understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that insurance adjusters are doing their work, and the hope is that the city will be able to repair/restore that facility. Am I correct?
Through the chair, the insurance adjusters are doing their work. Whether or not we're able to repair the facility remains to be seen at this time, unfortunately. But as soon as we have that information, we will share it with Mayor and Council.
Great.
Staff are working very closely with the Judo Club to find them an intermediate solution to their usage needs.
Excellent, thank you. Secondly, and I think I've asked you this privately, but the new paved parking lot for the Stadium District, that is open to public parking?
Yes, Councillor Thorpe, that is open to public parking, and we will continue to have discussions with the school district around an update to the long-term parking agreement there.
Great, thank you very much. And finally, if I may, a slip of my memory, but it was 50 years ago that Bevan Park opened. I think we celebrated that. And I was saying to Mr. Osborne before we started this meeting that next Friday, a week Friday, is the 50th anniversary of the opening of Sir Oxman Stadium, which to date myself I was at. Back in 1972, that was a coal slag heap because that was the site of the Wakasaya coal mine. And since then, to think of the improvements that have been made in that area with the ballpark, the track, the Q field, the aquatic center, everything, it's absolutely mind-blowing. So the work that has been accomplished by our Parks and Recreation Department in the past 50 years is staggering. Thank you again so much. And I'm feeling old now, but I do remember it opening, and there was nothing there. All right, if there's no other questions, we'll move on to our second presentation, and that is Ms. Bhopal Singh regarding another exciting project, the South End Community Center. Ms. Bhopal Singh.
Good afternoon. For those who don't know me, I'm the General Manager of Community Services, which Parks, Recreation, and Culture come under. So glad to be here for my first District 68 meeting. So just going to give you a very quick flyover. Nanaimo, as you know, is growing. We are no longer a small city. We are a very solid medium to large city, and our facilities, we're doing our best to keep up with them. So in the south end of Nanaimo, we know there has been a long-standing need, going back many years, for the development of a community center. And our most recent big one was Oliver Woods, about 15 plus years ago. And so I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the South End Community Centre project. Council last year has set aside substantial funding to look into the feasibility of this. Quite a lot of work has been done to date, but the intention of this would be our first true urban community centre. So unlike Beban or Bowen or even Oliver Woods, this would be very much have an urban footprint without a big park area around it. And the intention here is to be a actual community hub. So some of the things that council has endorsed in the planning for this include recreation elements like 1 or 2 gymnasiums, a walking and fitness track, space for primary care and childcare, performing arts space, and overall community spaces with various multi-purpose. And so I'm just going to run you through where we're at with the project. So here are some visual examples. For those of you who don't know, council invested last year in purchasing a property that is in the turquoise on the map there. And if you're familiar with Country Grocer in the Southgate Mall, it's behind there. Was the former parking lot of the aged care facility. So it runs along Junction Avenue between 11th and 12th. And also further to the north, you'll see in the dark outline is another lot that has been purchased that allows for complementary uses. As we know, parking is something that is a costly consideration. And as we plan for this, we have the option of looking at that lot to the north as potential surface parking versus exploring the costs of underground parking on the actual site. So that's a significant investment the city's made in purchasing this land in the south. And then, if I can, one thing council has also recently approved, because not only are we looking at planning for the centre and what's going on the site, but how do people get to it? And what's the access look like? Council had recently invested in a project that completed part of the Inn End Trail. And building on that success, council has recently invested in another section of trail that would take a off-street path on the rail trail corridor from the Chase River Elementary heading north to the site, to the South End, future South End Community Centre site. So that yellow dotted line that you see, in partnership with the Island Corridor Foundation and also the Southern Rail, we are working with them to implement that before the end of the year. And this would also allow for connections to the Parkway Trail. So again, I know this is not technically part of the facilities that you look at, but it's helping the community understand that when we plan things, we're looking at it holistically. In terms of community engagement for the South End Community Centre, we are having ongoing conversations with different partners who have interests in renting space or having space at the centre. We're working with Nanaimo First Nation. They actually were part of a tour of the site in May with us, and also looking at the surrounding land uses. As we know, they have their health centre not too far away, their #1 community. most of our information we're keeping on the project webpage. And right now, as we work through different partnership options and the amenities, our aim will be to do broader community engagement once council has given us the full go-ahead to proceed with a budget. So this is where we're at now. A lot of work was done prior to me coming on board with the city in September, and we're now moving forward with what's called a schematic design, where we can cost out some of the different options and arrangements based on those who have interest in working with us. And so this is our proposed timeline, and we have some key decision gates for council. So working with the schematic design, we know we have our election in October, and then aiming in January to bring forward a confirmation from council of what elements council would like to see us take to more detailed design. So that would be in January, and having gotten that feedback, we would then go on an aggressive time schedule to get what's called a Class C cost estimate, so more assurance for council about the proposed cost and design, with the aim that in June of 2027, council can make a decision about funding and proceeding with the project. So that's where we're at with that one. And again, this is a reflection of the evolution of our city and adding to our very well-used recreation centers.
Thank you, Ms.
amenities. Thank you.
Bopalsing. Another very exciting project, and glad to see it's on track. Directors or councillors, any questions? Yes. Director Craig, go ahead.
Thank you. This looks very much really interesting. I'm curious, the slide before talks about partnerships and amenities, and it mentions housing. So is housing envisioned to be provided on the site as well? If you
Is
look
this
at
the one?
partnerships and amenities, it lists housing.
Let's see. Okay, I think that one, at this point in time, I beg your pardon, but I do believe council has given us direction not to look at this time, but should something come up, we would bring that forward. So this one perhaps is more in line with the access and parking, the secondary lot that I pointed to there, and seeing what are the options, because it's a fairly small footprint for the actual site that we have. However, the other site, if we go with underground parking on the main site, may allow for council to consider the second site. Thank you.
A follow-up?
Yes, please.
And based on the diagram, you're thinking of one story, not multiple stories?
Yeah. Through the chair, for speed, I didn't include a slide that had 2 stories. So council has actually seen a concept with 2 stories. And so a lot of that, again, will come down to, in January, coming up to council and saying, here are the different options. This would be what 2 stories looks like. This is what 1 story would look like. So in this particular iteration, you do see 1 story, but there is another one where there are 2.
Okay.
And with the walking track concept suspended.
Right, okay.
Thank you.
And then if, one final question, just selfishly, because we're muttering about a potential multi-purpose facility on Gabriola. Do you know what the square footage of that would be?
Of the multi-use
Just that,
room?
that footprint of that schematic. If you don't, that's fine.
Overall?
If you know it off the top of your head.
For the multi-use, I think it might be around 1,000, but you know what, rather than guess, how about I send an email out? Because we do have the actual dimensions of that, but the overall community center is intended to be larger than Oliver Woods.
Okay.
So in the range around 60,000 square feet. So, but that particular blue room is what you're curious about.
I was actually interested in the entire footprint.
Oh, the entire building, yeah. So looking at in the range around 60,000 square feet.
Thank you.
However, we may be giving council options that are smaller as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Melanson. Oh, I think Jessica's first. Oh, I'm sorry. Director Stanley.
Thank you. So very interested in both these projects since they're on my, well, they're my neighbors. And I think when we get to the South Wellington Community Center, we might just kind of explore complementary, like uses or how is it that conversation. But I'm interested in the trail. Questions about the trail, and this is really exciting to me because I'm wondering if, and I don't know if you have this now, but I'm curious about if we know what the time frame is for that, if you have any idea of costing or even details. And if you don't have it now, I would love it if we could get that over at, I guess, I'm looking at you, Tom, but whoever replaces Tom, sad. Because, you know, we're not that far away. And with other projects that are planned in Cedar from an active transportation perspective, from Cedar, regional planning parks, the bridge, there's just a few spaces that aren't planned from a trail perspective, and this can be a really excellent opportunity for interregional connectivity. So particularly curious about, you know, how much did it cost to get you there? Because then I'm wondering, you know, what can I do on my end in Area A? I don't know if you have any of that information, but you know, when I think you said grand vision about things, and that's my grand vision for the active transportation piece. I don't know if you have any of that information.
Director Stanley, between Charlotte and I, we certainly do. I will say our timeline is this will be completed by the end of the year. So work is anticipated to start in August in full swing with our partners. And then in terms of the cost, I can remember a little bit, but I think Charlotte, you remember the exact numbers.
Through the chair, we went with council for $550,000 for the total cost of this section of the project. And as Ms. Bhopal Singh has correctly stated, it will be completed this year. The crossings may take a little while longer. And that's what's particularly interesting about this section, because with the previous section that we did between Hecate and 7th in Nanaimo, we didn't do crossings, which require the city to go ahead and get a bit of engineering work done, do the crossings. And so we're going to be learning a little bit about how practically they cost, how much they cost. But we envisage that it should fall well within that 550 budget allowed. And this is the southernmost extent that we have presently planned right now. So it's interesting that you mention a regional connection. And I believe that coming forward, potentially through, as part of the Sandstone development, there may be opportunity to complete the regional connection to the southernmost extent of our boundary.
Interesting, thank you. And what is not on this agenda would be not that we've got official plans, but the road safety planning work that we did in Cedar that has proposed specific projects for pathways. So, you know, I know I've talked a lot about Nanaimo people can ride their bikes out to the Cedar Farmers Market, but I guess when we decide what's going to happen in Cedar, that we'll share that information at that time. But thank you. Oh, sorry, one last question. Do we know the distance from the end of this, so the southernmost portion, to the EA border, the electoral area border?
Oh, I'm not sure about that. Sorry, I was just going to give you, it's just under 1 kilometer of trail that we're getting here.
That's good.
Yeah. We can get back to you on the other question.
If you're talking about the EA border, I think it actually goes right along the
I think it's
property line.
really close. Yeah. That's
Sorry,
really exciting. Thank you.
Let's use our microphones. Director Melanson, please.
I was just commenting that I think it goes right along the Area C border, just looking at the map. That was actually going to be my question to you, is any of it in Area C? Because I think it looks on the map like it goes along the city border, like along the property line probably.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm jumping over you, Chair.
okay.
This one's clearly in the ANN right of way, and it's on the, what would it be, the eastern side.
Okay. Yeah. I would be curious to know if any part of it, the proposed trail drifts into Area C, just because looking at the zoning map, that is like right on the property line. So there's certainly part of the Parkway Trail is in Area C, so just curious about it.
Through the chair to Director Melanson, we can get back to you and confirm. Thank you.
I would love that, thank you. May I ask another question?
Of course, please.
Thank you. You mentioned library services on one of your first slides. I'm just wondering what the extent of those services are. Are we looking at a whole new branch, or?
Through the chair, those are conversations that we actually have to confirm with our partners. And so the options may be something quite modest, like library kind of kiosk in a welcome area and shared space. The library has a number of its own capital plans and projects to consider between here and its region. And so practically, it may end up being a very modest but still functional space where in the multi-purpose reception area, we also have a kiosk-style library service and or the possibility, if the library prefers, to have a mobile library visit from time to time. At this time, we are still confirming what that would look like. Thank you.
Can I follow up with another?
Yes, of course.
We've talked quite a bit about availability and connections, and obviously trail is wonderful and I think a fantastic idea. I'm sure council has considered traffic patterns and access to this. Extension Road and the surrounding area and the part of the old Island Highway that lead into this from Cinnabar and Area C is like exceptionally busy already. I'm wondering if we've considered the impacts of further traffic.
Through the chair to Director Melanson, our manager of transportation and our engineering transportation department have plans for things in the Chase River area, including the Cranberry Connector, and looking at a range of different types of mobility. And one of the things I forgot to mention is that in our city plan, the Southgate area is connected to our transportation hub planning. And so the community center will be the transit exchange on road, taking people right to the door of the community center. So that is part of the plan for improved accessibility. Is an important piece, so thank you for raising that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And then finally, sorry, I've blocked my phone on myself. Last question, you mentioned not that there won't be any outdoor play space. I'm wondering if we've given consideration to indoor play space.
Through the chair, perhaps I should have qualified that better. There will be some modest outdoor space. It just won't be to the extent that we have available at Oliver Woods and Bowen and Bevan. And so the plan would be, especially if we are confirming daycare space, there needs to be a certain threshold for licenses with a suitable amount of space outdoors. So there will be outdoor space. It just won't be to the extent that we see with different types of existing facilities.
Okay. For what it's worth for the council members in the room, having spent some time on the other side of the country where you don't have access to outdoor play space a lot in the wintertime, having available indoor play space is very helpful for parents in the wintertime, and Nanaimo has almost none.
Yes, and actually, through the chair, thank you very much. I didn't answer your question about indoor play space. Our intention is to have many flexible spaces, and especially in the reception area when people come in for a variety of age groups to connect and play.
Thank you, directors. Seeing no further questions, thank you very much, Ms. Bhopal Singh. Another very exciting project, and it will be a great asset to our community. Hopefully it will move ahead in the new year, and hopefully we'll all be here to see it. We'll move on to the South Wellington Community Center and Community Park. Mr. Tom Osborne, General Manager of Recreation and Parks from the Regional District of Nanaimo. Mr. Osborne, welcome, and I'll acknowledge that you are here in one of your final official meetings before a well-earned retirement, so thanks for being here.
Great. Thank you, Councillor Thorpe and Director Thorpe as well, too, for me. So I do appreciate that. We'll go through a series of slides here. There'll be a little bit of break as we go through the agenda, but we will start with the South Wellington Community Center and Community Park, and that is the official name of the building. So since the last time we met, it didn't really have a name. So that is what it was there. So you can see the nice sign in place. Mr. Don and myself were just on site yesterday as we move forward to onboarding this facility, and part of that process I'll have Mr. Don speak to the process, where we're at, and maybe even the official opening date that we're lining up, and go from there. So Mr. Don.
Mr. Don, welcome.
Thank you, Chair. So yeah, I'll just kind of go through the photos here and just kind of explain what the different features are as we go along. And then I'll speak a little bit to what Mr. Osborne spoke to about bringing everything online. So yeah, that's kind of the main frontal view there of the new community center. So the main entrance is kind of at the top of that wooden staircase you see there. There's also an entrance at the back, but that's the main entry. Down below, where you see those holes in the concrete, those are kind of play features for kids, summer camps, that type of thing. And there's actually some lower washrooms, one accessible, two normal, that are available for use as well, and potentially will tie in when the park opens in more kind of formal use down the road as well. So these two photos here, so this is just as you come in the front door there. So this is the main hallway as you kind of go along. To the left, immediately on your left there is kind of the office space. So there's a few office areas in there, washrooms, lunchroom. And then going down the corridor, there's again some washrooms, and then on either side of the facility are activity room spaces. They're generally around the same size, give or take, except for one of the kind of farther along rooms that is split into two with a glass door that we might see a little bit later. And the intention behind that is just to have a larger space, but you can also close the doors in case you want to separate use. And again, it was the old library, so we kept some of the kind of soundproofing insulation in the walls as well for future consideration. There we go. As I mentioned, the glass wall. So that's the two activity rooms. They're kind of labeled separately in case they want to be used kind of in conjunction or separate from one another. The glass in the middle has since been frosted, so you can't really see through for privacy and meeting purposes. So that's the kind of larger space to the center. I'll maybe speak to the comments that Mr. Osborne mentioned, and then I can hand it over to Rick for the outdoor portion, or Mr. Dakin, I should say. So yeah, moving into the actual facility itself. So we are working with a local community association, the South Wellington and Area Community Association is their name. So they're going to be officially taking over operations on August 1st, so just about a week and a half away. And then, as Mr. Osborne mentioned earlier, there's a tentative kind of soft open house plan for August 19th. It's a Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. More details will be released as soon as that's kind of buttoned up, but that's our initial kind of soft opening to try and gain community interest, see the space, and just kind of start percolating ideas and different user options. And then there'll be a kind of a more grand opening, fun activity event in the fall. So yeah, with SWACA, which is the community association, taking over operations on August 1st, we've had a good opportunity over the last couple of weeks with the facility essentially finishing completion, but not quite being taken over by the community association. So we've had an opportunity to run some summer camps in there, really try out the space, see how things are working, which has been a great learning opportunity for us as we look to transition over to the community association on August 1st. Other than that, I'll hand it over to Mr. Dakin to speak about the outdoor amenities.
Mr. Dakin, welcome. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Thorpe. And yeah, so the four photos that you see there in South Wellington Community Park, upper left corner is the playground. The playground was salvaged and relocated from one quarter and moved closer to the rec center building. We put down engineered wood fiber, which is a good protective service, and a wood border around the edge. And now it's open for play. So that was a successful resalvage and efficient and cost-effective way of saving the playground. The one on the right corner is an old goalpost that in 2028 we're looking to improve the field. So we have a budget of $100,000 to improve South Wellington Community Field. The lower right corner is the sport court. And we also have funding in place for 2027 to improve the sport court and make it multi-purpose accessible. It's definitely seen its day. And then left corner, you see some composting, recycle, and garbage bins, which we have now implemented throughout our park system, including regional parks. So we're able to handle our waste in a very environmental way. So those are the four photos on that slideshow.
So if I can, through the chair, as we sort of segue into the agreement, and I think it's good to sort of have that overall reference on why this committee exists, and a lot of the presentation of Ms. Davis brought forward and Ms. Bhopal Singh and ourselves is sort of forecasting the future a little bit as well too. So these are ongoing projects that are going on. There's some maintenance components taking place. So when you talk about these, well, actually, there's 3 community centers and 1 field, as you see here. So right now, they're not in the agreement, but the agreement does speak to the next survey round to see how they're being regionally used or are they not being regionally used. And then on the field component, for example, this field is pretty good for recreational use and not much more than that at this point in time. So, but should there be a day it comes in and there's seen to be more regionally used and it's been tested, that agreement that this committee speaks to would be, the agreement be upgraded. So I was doing a little bit of forecasting on that in regards to how the agreement rolls out over the coming years. And but as you can see, there's a fairly significant investment being done both within the regional district in Nanaimo and the city of Nanaimo on these facilities and fields. So it's a little bit of forecast work, and I think it's great information. And I appreciate the work of Ms. Davis and Ms. Bhopal saying about the asset management that goes into these facilities too, because that translates to maintenance as you go forward. So, and then that's where the agreement picks up. And Ms. Fulla and her team does a wonderful job of sorting through the various balls that come forward and come in at a decision point to move over in ledgers between the 2 organizations.
Good, thank you. Before we go on to the Cedar Sports Courts and Pump Track, I suspect at least one director might have some questions. Director Stanley.
It's less questions, although I do have one. More just to add the community component, because this is as you heard, a community-run facility by the local community association, and so current plans are looking for tenants. You're definitely focusing on childcare facilities, although we have a question of sinks, and I don't know if we've dealt with that. Community-run library. Space, SWACA will have its home space and is also intending that to be a kind of an open house, come, we might have some beanbag chairs and some video games for kids and just really like a drop-in space. And then the majority of it will be available for rental by service providers, and so that's yet to be seen about how that will work, but that's how SWACA intends to fund itself, is through renting of the facility, and then also obviously rental for meetings or SWACA holding its community meetings there as well. That's the indoor plan. As we said, the outdoor's not quite ready for kind of organized use beyond the. Right now, we've got some of those summer camps as well. The RDN's providing rec services through a partnership with SWACA in the community center, and I don't quite know what that will look like, but I know the community and Area C apparently is excited about what recreational programming will be there. I do have a couple of questions. One, is that sign real or is it AI? Because I haven't seen it. Oh, really? So I have not paid attention when I've drove past it this morning. Good to know. I'm sorry, I'm so surprised about that. We talked about the outdoor park plans. So sports court first, field improvements later. Do we have thoughts about that, or is that kind of subject to community conversations and engagement on what the community hopes to see on that?
Wide open as far as how we want to move forward, which one's first, which one's second. Right now, there are placeholders in the budget. So, yeah, we can move forward with whatever one is most important.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I will say that this is very conveniently located between Ladysmith and Nanaimo. So for those of the Ladysmith residents that work in Nanaimo or vice versa, dropping your kids off or going to programming at the facility is just super easy and on the way. And we also have a bus stop right in front of this community center as well. And I believe the 78 connects from the Southgate area, because my kids take it, up to this. And so eventually we will have the community centers connected as well. So thanks, very excited. I'm just very excited. Thanks. And you're all invited, August 19th.
All right, thank you. Should we move on then to the Cedar Sports Courts and Pump Track?
Thank you. Through to the committee, through the chair. I'll also let Mr. Dakin speak to this item as well too, but I think as we move that forward, it just speaks to the relationships that the regional district has to do, and in this case, it's actually with the school district. So everything you see on this is actually by way of an agreement with the school district, by way of longer-term lease. So the sport courts, even the Cedar Heritage Center that we know and love, and assume it's the building is the regional district, but the land is on the school district. So it does speak to the partnership agreements that everyone has to undertake. So we have a few images. Again, these are not part of the agreement, but more for informational purposes for this committee.
Through the chair. Yeah, we're very happy and pleased with the progress that we've made with School District 68 staff and their board. And of course, our board as well, moving this forward. The grand total for the two projects was $159,500, $9,500 for the basketball court. So that was refurbishing the existing court, painting lines, getting the standard hoops in place. And that was all done by school district staff in-house, which was a really quick process. So as soon as the construction agreement was launched, they were all over it, and it's now in play. And now we're currently in the progress of developing 4 dedicated pickleball courts in the existing tennis court area, and that is also well underway. We have moved the drainage further into the field to expand it to get the proper size pickleball courts, and we anticipate that this project will be wrapping up in around the 3rd week of August. And just in time for school to come back in. School will be accessing it from 8 till 4:30 daily during school days, and then weekends, holidays, staff holidays, and July, August will be available for the community. So basically after hours, 4:30 till dusk on school days, and of course, staff holidays in July and August. So the pickleball world is looking forward to seeing that come forward, and me included. And so it's there'll be full-size, tournament-size pickleball courts, so they're available for all types of games. And then that last photo here is another project that is getting fast-tracked right now, and is being led by the Stevie Smith Foundation. It's a bike pump track, which is right next to the skate park in Cedar. And we're looking to open that one shortly. They're going to be paving probably early next week. And obviously the kids will be very anxious to jump on there right away. The grand opening is on August the 31st at 1 p.m. There'll be notices coming out for that. And everybody's very excited to have a new bike pump track, which will get named shortly as well. There'll be a naming process coming forward to our electoral area Parks, Recreation, and Culture Committee in September, and then on to the Committee of the Whole and the board. So that project is coming in around $200,000, all paid for by donations from the Stevie Smith Society, and we will have a kiosk there with the rule sign as part of our contribution from the RDN.
Thanks, Mr. Dakin. I know the Stevie Smith Society is very excited about this, and I didn't think we could get through a meeting without mentioning pickleball, so thanks so much. Unless there's any questions further at this point, we can move ahead. Keep going at least. Rollo McClay Fields and the Extension Sports Fields. Mr. Osborne.
Okay. It may be worthwhile at this point, while you're in the room, to talk about the Civic Sports and Cultural Awards, because I think it might be worthy of a conversation, and then we can move into the presentations on the second half, if that's the wish of the chair.
I would appreciate that, Mr. Osborne. Yes, I didn't know how long this last section
Sure.
might take.
Yeah.
And I apologize to the committee, but I do have an appointment that I cannot break just after 3. And I'm very curious to hear about the feedback for the Civic Sports Merit Awards.
Yeah, and thank you. So from my introduction, obviously this has been a need that was identified a long time ago of basically those people that are in the rural areas, notably in A, B, C, and Lanceville, not being able to be recognized because the proper form was not in place. So with that, there was the award ceremony, and I'm going to put my fellow colleagues on the spot because it wasn't us implementing it. It was actually the city staff that did the work. But I did want to note and thank the staff for the work. Myself, Mr. Don, were there observing and doing a comparison to what we do in the north and through the Recreation Committee up there. So with that, I don't know if the two of you want to speak to it, but more importantly, what would be good for the conversation of this committee to know how did it go, and knowing that there will be refinements that need to be, that will be done with everything going forward, because it was well received. I certainly sat in the audience, and I was behind someone from Lanceville on a ball team from someone from Nanaimo, and they were both happy to be sitting beside each other, being recognized, for example. So.
Thanks, Mr. Osborne, and I certainly want to acknowledge the hard work that your wife, Darcy Osborne, did on this, recently retired Director of Parks and Rec for Nanaimo. I personally thought it was very successful, but I'll leave that to Ms. Bhopal Singh to comment on further.
Through the chair, it was the first time that we had done this, and I was actually going to give kudos to Ms. Osborne and the team who made this happen. And there were quite a few pivots on our end to make sure that respect was shown equally to all participants. And I think our question back to you, like Mr. Osborne was saying, is how did it work for you and what could we do differently going forward? Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if Mayor Swain, I see his hand up. So Mayor Swain, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, through the chair. Yeah, no, I thought the event was fantastic, and I honestly have really no feedback in terms of for improvements. I thought it was really well executed, and it sounds kind of terrible to say executed with an awards bank or like a presentation, but again, it was so well done, and I think everybody was very appreciative, especially the Lanceville residents, to be able to have that opportunity for recognition along their teammates and so forth. But again, if you guys want to do an internal review and try and refine it and make it better, all the power to you, but I really don't think there's much more that needs to be done, if anything at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Swain. Any other comments? Yes, Director Craig.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend, and I'm very happy that this is taking place. One suggestion for improvement is, I don't know about the other area directors, but I actually never heard about a call for nominations. I kind of saw that it was announced that it was happening, but I'd already scheduled a POSAC meeting for that evening, so it as a more of a regional thing, which I'm very happy is happening. I would encourage more earlier inclusion of the area directors in notification, and just we could have spread the word. Like I literally did not know this was happening. So yeah, but I'm glad for the athletes that were recognized. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's a fair comment, and there were a number from Gabriola, which was good to see. Anybody else? Yes, Director Stanley.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. I would echo everything that Director Craig just mentioned, both the gratitude and the feedback. How were people selected from the electoral areas? I was kind of surprised to see that it had come up. I hadn't heard of anything, so I wonder what the process was about how people were selected for the.
So maybe, sorry, Ms. Bhopal Singh, no?
Through the chair, I don't have all the details, but I do know that the 55 plus participants was a big part of it. Looking at every resident who was acknowledged to that. Oh, it looks like Mr. Osborne knows the answer.
Thank you. It is a self-nominating process, so you can go on, and if you do win an award, you can put your names forward. So there has to be an awareness, of course, for teams to put forward, but if you're win at a provincial or a national level, that's been done. There's also at times both RDN staff and I know city staff will reach out to, they'll hear of a participant and say, are you aware of? As those people will apply and put forward. And sometimes some people don't want to be recognized in another forum as well too. So that's their choice on how they want to proceed upon their public recognition, if you will, kind of thing. So there is an application process on the websites. And again, I appreciate the comments from the two RDN directors about earlier information going out. It's one thing that we picked up on as well too. Obviously, we had a scheduling conflict with one of our parks committees. So that I put that on the RDN staff on that side. So by going forward, it's that early indication of us sort of advancing that information. But it is fairly well known in the community. And I know city staff over the years were fielding calls from the rural areas and had to just say, no, you can't. And this is the first time they've applied and they say, here you go. And that was a wonderful opportunity for those teams and those being on those teams. So thank you.
And just if I may add to that, Mr. Osborne, just to make sure we're clear, Director Stanley, it's not us or a board or councillors that nominate people. It's through the community, and they can nominate themselves, or friends can fill out the application form online, as long as it is a gold medal winner from provincial, national, international level competition. I think it is fairly well known, but we can always maybe do a better job of spreading the word that is an option for people to apply and fill out the nomination form.
You said national. You said national. You said national or provincial?
Provincial, national, or international.
Okay, I think we have a pickleballer that might be appropriate. Thanks.
If I may, there's only one comment I have, and I really appreciate this awards evening, and I think the recipients do as well. We did not have any culture presentations this time around. It was all sports, and it was mainly the 55-plus games. I always wonder whether the culture, if there were culture winners, should be included with the sports winners in the merit awards, or would they be better served to be recognized when Nanaimo has its cultural awards night? And I just throw that out there as a thought, and I could be swayed either way, but I think it's maybe worth considering.
Through the chair, I think one of the beauties of this one is the District 68 collaboration. With culture, I don't think we have quite the same portfolio, but that doesn't mean it couldn't be added. The benefit of adding in culture to this is when council considers the culture recipients, it very much is more Nanaimo focused.
Yes.
And it doesn't capture all the awards that people get versus being nominated by the city for an awarded culture. So it would give a broader spread of people who are recognized for their culture and art. That would be my one plug, and I think over to Mr. Osborne.
And in regards to, there may not have been applications, but there actually cultural can come through here. So as a father of a choral singer, we have an award in our basement from this night from my daughter who's singing it at a national level in choir. So it is there. It just maybe is not as known, and it may be another thing for the group to take back on how to sort of push that out, because there can be some confusion. I know we fielded some questions about the cultural night versus the performance recognition night, which includes culture. So it actually, good news to Ms. Phelps, it's there. But I think there's a better opportunity to expand that out further, so.
All right, no, thank you, and I'm convinced, thank you. But a very positive evening, and so great to recognize people from our city and from our region that have done so well in their various fields. So thanks to staff for organizing that. And at that juncture, committee members, with your permission, I'm going to turn the chair over to Councillor Hemmons to conclude the rest of the meeting, and my apologies again, but I do really have to leave. My thanks to staff for being here today and all our colleagues from the RDN. Always great to see you, and Councillor Hemmons, over to you.
Thank you, Councillor Thorpe. Okay, we are in the middle of our South Wellington Community Centre report. Mr. Osborne.
Great, so we'll advance the slide to Roland Macleay Fields. Great.
Thanks for being here.
So I can move it ahead if you would. Sure, yeah, that's fine, yeah. 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 Follow the bouncing ball today. So World of Macleay Fields. This is an update, and again, I'll move it towards Mr. Dakin again. And this is a field complex that is in the agreement. So this is on Gabriel Island, and there has been some upgrades on this complex, mostly around turf management and the field going in. But before I hand it over to Rick, a fun rural fact. That little view at the end, that's not a swimming pool. It is a water reservoir, and again, on a Gulf island, water is a premium, and there's you have to get surface water and get water anyway, but from a pipe. So in this case, we actually draw water from the water reservoir. I was over there last week. It's getting a little bit on the low side, where you just see a bunch of softballs bouncing around as opposed to water in there. So, but I'll get Mr. Dakin to explain the recent maintenance upgrades going on.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, that reservoir typically by the time July rolls around is empty. So those thirsty fields are taking in the water. They are soil-based, so they do hold the water, but with the irrigation system, this time of year, the grass does start to turn brown, which is okay because that's normal and dormancy for grass. But yeah, so we are limited by the water. And as Tom was mentioning, the last 3 years, we've been improving the conditions of the field, top dressing regularly. We did have one incident with some bad top dress, but we solved that through some bad compost. But that's a side issue. But yeah, so we regularly fertilize, water, top dress, and also manage the infield in terms of keeping it level and flat for the players. These photos here are basically the clubhouse concession, which is operated by the Gabriel Softball Association. The lower one was in result of some play that was happening kind of in the wintertime by soccer players. So we put in a little gravel soccer field that they can practice on when the fields are starting to get a little wet in the wintertime. So it gives them a little break and they can come onto the gravel and kick the ball around. And then the one on the right-hand side is the lower softball field, and the outside fields also get used by soccer when they're not using the elementary school nearby.
So before we leave, Gabriola, when there is a high need for soccer fields, and we'll talk about that in the last item on the agenda here today, but again, a lot of soccer players, obviously district teams are coming off island to play in district, but there's actually a high need on the island. And these fields you see here, they're primarily softball fields. That's where they're built for. And then the main soccer field that they've been using is actually this school, elementary school field that then gets overused. So they've been times they've been not able to use the field. So it's really impacted primarily the children and youth on the island. So that speaks to the need on the island. So as Director Craig well knows, you have to be local to perform locally, but at the same time they hop on that ferry boat to be on the district teams, and hence the agreement with the city on that side as well too. So, but we are seeing as the island grows that this wear and need on sports fields on the island is going forward. So with that, I can. I don't want to steal the thunder of Director Melson, but I can paint a little bit of overview on a pretty amazing projects going on here. The Extension Sports Field and Sport Court is, again, another multi-partnership project to work, planning, and collaboration kind of thing. So a lot of folks assume the Extension Recreation Commission is part of the RDN. It is not. It is a local society that owns and manages land and extension. And through that, the society has done an amazing job working with a local firm and then using funds from Community Work Funds that have been provided to them. So with that, Director Melson, do you want to speak to this, or?
I think you're doing a good job.
Okay, all right. I respect the autonomy of extension and will always do so. So on that side, it's their own community. So with that, this is actually a fairly high-end sports field that's coming on board, and with that, we anticipate there'll be increased usage on that. Still, at this point in time, be booked through the society. I don't know if that will change in the future or whatever, but I think it's worth the conversation. But it's really gone from sort of a extension had a high-end field that was used a long time ago. It's then fell fallow a little bit. Now it's been brought on board. So the extent of this complex is quite something in itself. Unique part of the world. I'm just showing a few slides here. There's a community hall on site that was one of the former homes on site that is used by the community. And as you can see, the field, well, the D fell out of the scene, but the field closure will be closed till fall. And then again, related, unrelated, this is actually a sport going in. And of course, when you work for a regional district, you have to be pretty, what's the word I'm looking for, flexible and adaptive to getting things done. So this is the site of the old Extension school site. So it's where the school was there. So this is actually property owned by the school district. And we have a license agreement with the school district to put in here the sport court. And then on the lower left side, for even more creativity, if you know the area, that's actually road right away. So we have permission with Mott to have an agreement with Mott to have a playground put in, and a playground was put in by the Extension Society. So with that, but Rick, do you want to speak about the sport court in particular?
Sure. So well underway. It's going to be well used by hockey. It's going to have the concrete edge, which rises up, and which is a nice backboard to play off of. But it is a multi-purpose court, so it can be used for any sport, whether basketball, pickleball.
No pickleball.
Anything that asphalt would be on, and you can paint lines on. So yeah, we'll see how it evolves, and I'm sure the hockey world, in this case, will really love this one. And yeah, so it was a complicated process because there was all kinds of lot lines going across this property for a potential subdivision way a long time ago. So we had to erase the lot lines in order to construct here. And the next phase will be the exact same situation with the Bike Skills Park, because which is right next to it, also has a whole bunch of lot lines. So you'll be seeing a development variance permit coming forward for that in the future as we move that one forward.
Great, thanks, Mr. Dakin. And just to close this one down, what we are seeing through the extension field is part of the agreement, so there will be higher maintenance costs. So that will be reflected in future years. So it's part of, again, of the credit system, if you will. Everyone puts in their operational costs, and it's divvied up by usage and so forth. So there will be an increase in cost just because you have a high-grade field that needs to be maintained and treated as such kind of going forward. So it's a good item to note. And with that, through the chair, that's the end of that.
Thank you. Director Melanson, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I know the answer to this, but so that the rest of the committee knows, could we speak to how those maintenance costs will be handled going forward? I know that the RDN board has approved a maintenance cost for the time being, but what that looks like until our next audit.
I can speak to that, and Wendy will be downstream from that as well in a bigger cooperative of this. So those costs are put in, and then all the budgets are based on prior year actuals. So whatever costs were put in to maintain the field even through this fall will be reflective in next year's budget. And then you'll always hear Ms. Moore speak about, okay, we have the pre-cost estimates coming from Qualicum Beach, City of Park, Soil, City of Nanaimo, and ourselves, and then they're then finalized. It's one of the last things the board does in January is sort of the reset of the financial figures for that. So you will see the expenditures and that's where the reporting from the society will be really key. But we're the regional district in Nanaimo is sending money for field maintenance, so that would be captured in our budget to give to society to maintain the field. So that's what I'll call the actual dollars to do that.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Director Craig.
How is your sports field so green? Do you have water?
So the extension field is part of the Southern Extension Water Improvement District and has 3 rather large reservoirs that are connected to the city of Nanaimo water system that they pull from. So we are lucky to have good water access.
Jealous.
Anyone else? Mayor Swain, I see no hands. Okay, I believe that's it for our agenda, although that went a bit wonky on me there. Is there anything? Oh, one more. Director, pardon me, Mr. Osborne, go ahead.
All right, thank you. This is more looking to Director Craig if you want to expand on it further. But again, I noted the field pressures on the island as well as on the recreation side. So this past year, the RDN finalized its Parks and Rec master plan on Gabriel Island. And with that, identified the need for sports fields as being a top priority. And the other one was a potential recreation center as well, too. So with that, you'll, in the budget that's been approved and revised just recently, Mr. Dake and Mr. Don will be undertaking a feasibility review for a siting analysis for a sports field or fields and a recreation center. So it's taking up quite a bit of conversation on Gabriola right now. I know Ms. Craig is I've been fielding a few questions. I don't know if you want to speak to that, Director Craig.
Yes, much to the chagrin of some, it doesn't include a pool. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this goes forward, and I really appreciate the expertise over on this side of the room. And so the master plan identified a sports field that's accessible to the community. You know, that we can set the time. The issue is the school is being quite restrictive of when we can use the field and how we can use it. And they don't want to put more money into maintaining it, even though we've offered money to help with that. So it's there, and the same issue with the rec facility, because the school gym is really the only gym that's good. We have the community hall, but it isn't good for all the sports with the ceiling and the size. So, and then we can't use it, you know, on weekends and stuff like that. So, yeah, we're early stages, and I will say sports field. And we did have a request for 5 sports fields, but I think that's a little bit much. But yeah, it's exciting, beginning stages, but thank you.
That's great. Questions? Director Stanley, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I know we talked about the South Wellington Community Center with regards to future usage and being considered part of the agreement, but I just want to ask about the, you know, what's being formed as the Cedar Recreational Hub. I mean, we're going to have pickleball, we have a pump track, we have the skate park, and we're going to have a playground. And I already know that the skate park is somewhat of a draw, largely because there's a fairly famous skater boarder that lives in Nanaimo, but likes to skate at the Cedar Skate Park. But just kind of curious about how will we consider usage? How?
Through the chair. Through the chair.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
I just realized I'm sharing. Go ahead, John. Yeah.
This is an item that comes up very frequently. I think it's important for both the regional district directors to be aware of and city councilors as well too. So the DNA of these agreements was around recreational facilities and sports fields, because they were the areas that were not provided equally in the regional district. So that is why the agreements were formed and the surveys were done. So we frequently get a request from municipalities, even ourselves, say, hey, we should add in a tennis court, we should add in a sports court. But that is not the areas in equity. The areas in equity were the larger recreation facilities and the sports fields were the two. So if you start chipping away at the armor, you might chip away at the integrity of the overall agreement, because basically every rural area has a tennis court. Almost every rural area has a sport court now. Pickleball courts are coming into the fray, but it takes a larger entity to operate the larger sports fields and the larger recreation centers, and that's why those are built into the agreement to then measure every year. and tests as well too. So the testing of, again, Alderwood Wood still hasn't made the threshold yet. One day it might, but that's where the testing comes in. But if you start throwing in the smaller stuff, you may affect the integrity of the intent of the overall agreement when it was set up in many, many years ago now. But it's holding true. But if, and we even have internal, Mr. Dacus asked, well, can we throw in the pickleball courts in Japanese? And the answer is no, to that kind of thing, because that's, everyone's having that. So I just, I encourage and make sure this committee and the board is aware of that.
Yeah, by all means.
So that's interesting. I guess potential future conversation, because it's not just one facility. It's not a pickleball court or a hub. It's a skate park. It's a park pump track. It's a playground. It's a pickleball court. It may very well become a well-used larger facility. But I hear you. That's not what the agreement was intended for. But there's no point in counting these chickens before they're hatched, because we haven't even started yet. And I guess we've got a few years before we can see what that looks like. And maybe there'll be a conversation. Maybe there won't. But curious, good to know about the ground that we stand on.
Thank you. Further questions? Director Craig, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And just picking up on that a little bit of thread, it's chickens hatch thing. But, it made sense for Gabriola Majid-Corsi to being part of this agreement, especially for Nanaimo, access to the pools, access to the fields. We use that. I'm curious, when we start building farther and farther south, realistically, Gabriola's really, I'd be surprised if we're going to get much pickup in the southern areas. But if it exceeds this 10% threshold, it will be in the agreement. We will be asked to contribute to it because we are responsible for picking up our share of non-entities, even if it's 0% use. So I'm curious how it's envisioned when there's absolutely 0% use. We're not going to use it. How does that get reflected in the agreement? Because my interpretation of the agreement is we're still going to have to pay towards it because it's part of the agreement, and if any outside of Nanaimo, Lanceville, ABC are using it, that extra cost gets allocated. So it would be more than zero. So I'm getting the impression from your face that yes, we will be expected to contribute towards it.
Through to the chair, I mean, right now, that hasn't been tested yet. The Federation approach to that one was everyone recognizing all the operational dollars would go in, and then the share percentages by the share of usage. Right now, the weighting criteria could be analyzed down the road, for example, so there's a higher weighted use or a different weight use for arenas than there is for pools. You could start splitting that up further. I'll take a little bit of work of the team here to see how that looks, to ensure that for community centers, how can they be best reflected? They may become a bit of an anomaly as opposed to a pool and arena. So when we do the survey, we do weight, and sorry, I'll try to be very quick, but like drop-in use only is a higher weight at the pool because it's a primary use. Whereas at a community center, it's program use and rentals, and an ice arena is almost rentals for very few drop-in, for example. So you can start moving around the weighting criteria for community centers potentially to make sure that it is fair. But until you see that and test it, I can't really speak to that. But right now, in the last 15 years, that still hasn't materialized. But certainly, but through it all, I think it's important to know, based on the usage, is what the jurisdiction pays. So if it's 1%, it's 1%. If it's 15%, it's 15%, depending on whatever it is.
But if it's 0%, it's not going to be 0%.
I'm not the mathematician on this right now, Director Craig, but potentially.
Yeah, I guess my request is just that this is kept in mind as we're expanding the services. And anybody from Gabriola Majid-Corsi accessing these are already taking a ferry. We're already doing the things to get to these. And so, it's just going to be challenging as things expand, even though, and if we use it, then we use it, then that's great. But I'm just concerned that there's going to be more expansion into things we don't use. But yes, if that's kept in mind, that's great. Thank you.
Further questions? Seeing none, that is our agenda. Any new business? Seeing none, call for adjournment. Moved Director Stanley, seconded Director Melanson. All those in favor? Any opposed? I see none opposed. We're adjourned. Thank you.